Hi guys and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 23. It is now time for round 17 of our Moto2 career mode. It is time for the Chang International Circuit. It is the Thai GP. So here we go then, in pole position. The qualifying was quite a doddle in this one, so I'm hoping that this could be a pretty easy race for us, but we do have a brand new objective against the 120% difficulty AI, and that is of course to defeat Pedro Acosta. So as you may or may not have seen in the last race in Phillip Island, things closed up very well, and we got a few extra points to retain the championship lead, but ultimately this race should be rather interesting to see what the outcome could be for this World Championship. It looks like we might be able to just disappear at the front here, but you never know how things are going to go, especially considering how close we were from just really running away with the championship in the last race. But yeah, you never know what happens, and I don't really want to spoil that video at this stage of the race, because if you haven't seen the previous video in Phillip Island, I assure you it is well worth the watch, so go and watch that video before you get back to this one. But for those who are still here, of course we do have a 7 or 8 championship point lead, so anything can happen in this championship with just a couple of rounds to go. This one's round 17, so we'll have 3 rounds after this one here in the Chang International Circuit. But what I can tell you is that I wouldn't pay too much attention to the gap in the top left hand corner of your screen. Yes, we are now 3 seconds ahead of Pedro Acosta and Tony Arbolino, but we still struggle with the fuel. And what happened in Phillip Island, it happened in Motegi, it's happened in other tracks as well. The AI gets stronger towards the end of the race, and we have to go into power save mode. So this one looks to be the same way, so I'm just reserving judgment on what could happen in this race here today. I want to say I'm confident, and I do feel extremely confident around the circuit in a couple of areas, and I do really... oh goodness me, that was a bad excursion off the track. But yeah, I do strongly believe we'll have a good race here, but I just cannot guarantee what is going to happen when we have to reduce the fuel, when the tyres start to disappear, and when the AI get into their next level strategy towards the latter stage of the race. So all I can tell you is buckle in, get yourself your favourite beverage and relax and enjoy this race here in Thailand. But 4.2 seconds it is to Salach, and no, now to Tony Arbolino. But let's talk about the circuit of Chang International Circuit of Thailand. It's a track I'm not a big fan of. I don't dislike it, but I could give or take it when it comes up on the calendar. I don't mind racing here. There's a few points I really like, especially going into turn 1 and then into turn 2 with the very hard braking zone of the second corner. I do enjoy that very much, and going into turn 5 as well, I do really like. I like just diving into that left-hander, so I'm looking forward to some battle in this race, but I'm also nervous that once the AI catches me up, it could be a case that they're just going to dominate. But I just really don't know what's going to happen here, because the qualifying was just shocking. I only did 3 laps. I did 1 in practice to secure Q2. I did a second lap, and I think that was it. So actually, no, just the 2 laps. That's all I needed to do to move on. And honestly, I thought I'm just going to jump into the race, because if it's going to be this easy, let's just crack on and get this one done. But so far so good. 134.268 is for us. I think we qualified in the 133s, or maybe even a high 132. I don't actually recall now after recording this. But all I know is that we have a 6-second advantage to Tony Arbolino. So if we were to lose this one, this would be pretty heartbreaking, considering we have such a gap. And speaking of gaps, 20 points we would be adrift of Pedro Acosta. In fact, Acosta would be adrift of us, the new Moto2 World Champion just crowned today. Of course, I'm going to beat him in Virtual World if this continues. But who knows what's going to happen. We've got a lot more races, and if we get any races that are going to be interrupted with rain, and we get a mixed condition situation, I would say that's where we're going to surrender big championship points. So providing that the next race in Sepang, the following race in Qatar, I don't think there is a possibility of mixed conditions there, and then in Valencia, which has happened twice before, mixed conditions. So anything can happen here, but my own goal is to make sure that we have this one sealed as soon as we can, so that way I can focus on doing nothing but moving up to MotoGP. But as it stands, the gap is still 6 seconds, and I think this is the couple of corners now where the AI tend to struggle. This corner here going into turn 1 and then into turn 2 is where we will pull a lot of time away from the AI. So again, another 134. Gap is down to 5.7 as we move over to the right hand side. Similar strategy what I've been employing since Sachsenring, I would probably say, where we're going to use power setting 3 for as many laps as we can, and then we'll drop down to power setting 2. But there is a prime example. Going into turn 3 now, 6.7 seconds ahead. So we've gained a full second in that first split against the AI. And may I remind you, this is on the hardest difficulty, 120% difficulty. I'm a decent player, but the AI just tend to struggle in some of these tracks, because if you've watched my previous videos, I've not had it easy in every single race, no way. And the way it was in Phillip Island when we had to reduce our fuel, they caught me up and really punished me on the final couple of laps. So yeah, that's the way it's been, this Moto2 career mode. But what I will say is that, of course, I'm fully on board with everyone's decision to move me up to MotoGP. So we are guaranteed to be moving up to the Premier class. I don't know what team I'll be with yet. I don't know what offers I'm going to get. But all I know is that I'm looking forward to it, and I really hope that it will be as competitive as Moto2 has been so far. Even Moto3 was competitive as well, but there was a couple of tracks there that was just impossible to beat the AI. Not even fair. But here in Moto2, I think it's been a very good combination of competitiveness and sometimes a bit too difficult. It's been a great experience. I've really enjoyed my time in Moto2. Probably my favourite so far of MotoGP 23. But deep into turn 1, managed to recover a bit of time, but now we need to drop down to power setting 2. God forbid, if they do catch us, I want to have something in reserve just in case I need to use some additional fuel. But there's a lot of straights here. You can see in the graphic in the bottom of the corner of your screen, that is of course the track layout, that's the map. And as you can see, there's a lot of straights there. And even the shorter straights, I'm going to get punished when I drop down to the second power option. So already, we're down to a 1 second loss in the first split, approaching the second split, which will start going into turn 5 here. So onto the brakes. We are now losing 1.4 seconds to our previous lap, which was indeed the best lap. So this is going to be a 1:35.3, 1:35.4. That's a lot of time to lose, but that would put me closer to the territory of the lap times that Arbolino, Salac and the rest of the competition behind are doing. So I honestly feel that this is a race where we will get caught up. Because of those straights, if we need to drop down to power setting 1, I think the race is over. We won't stand a chance. But I do have a very strong lead. 7 seconds is where I'm going to be aiming to keep. But if we cannot, then we're going to have to think of something. But down into power setting 2. We've almost got back into the green. So we should be good to stay on power setting 2. But I don't think we can use the third power option for the latter stage of the races. But we'll see. It's so difficult to decide how much fuel to use. I feel like I do a good strategy, but maybe I should just reduce it by a lap. So where I've done 4 laps actually of solid third power option, maybe I need to start dropping it down to second after the 3.5 lap possibly, or even the 4th lap, but at the beginning of it rather than the end of the lap. But not bad. Approaching half distance now, we're still 7 seconds ahead of the competition, so far so good. Tony Arbolino in second will result in him only losing 5 points in this particular champion exchange. And then Pedro Acosta down in 5th. He will be looking to gain more points than that, but so far I haven't seen him go forwards. I've only seen him go backwards. So from starting on the front row of the grid, he's been overtaken by Salac and Aaron Canet in the first opening laps. But now into turn 8, a much better entry going into the 8th corner this time around, and it looks to be that the delta in the top right corner of your screen from the previous lap is, yeah, it's trending in a positive way. It's not as negative as it was, but only losing a couple of tenths of a second, less than a second is ideal, and we've still got the lead of a second, 7 seconds should I say. So far so good. Maybe we can relax, maybe we can rest a little bit, but there is the championship standings, and of course that is a pretty large lead. That's 22 points ahead of Pedro Acosta. Brilliant going into the final couple of rounds. And of course, Tony Arbolino is what, 39? Is he additional 7? I missed it. I think it's 29 points behind myself. So that is a big gap. And of course, with only 3 rounds remaining, Sepang, Qatar, Valencia, we're getting closer to that stage of match point. If anything happens to Acosta, if anything happens to Arbolino, it could be match point, and you better believe I'll want to try and seal that up as sooner rather than later, and as soon as possible. I still can't believe it though. Going back into the early stages of the career mode, I was talking as if we were going to have to do another season in Moto 2. That was the whole point of the poll. I was genuinely concerned that we would have to stay and do another year in Moto 2. But clearly you guys had the faith, and with this improvement in the summer break, the bike has been night and day difference. It's a fantastic bike now. I love using this forward Moto 2 machine. Oh, really pushing the limits into turn 8. But yeah, I've got to say, I'm really happy with the way this bike has developed, and I'm really happy with the way career mode has been implemented in MotoGP 23. Other teams have been getting stronger. It's not just ourselves, so it's a really nice addition to the MotoGP career mode in the games. But anyway, into turn 12. Notice this one's not going to be a strong lap for now, and we're only just going to break even with the fuel. So the way the fuel works is it'll give you an indication of if you stay as a trend, you will end up using too much fuel, and vice versa. If you have plenty to burn, the game can tell you by going green and letting you know. But as you can see right now, it's red, and it still says we're over by 0.1. So it's not a lot, but we're over. And the only way we can do that is we reduce fuel even more. I can't afford to drop down to power setting 1. I really can't. Not on these straights. We might only have to do it for the corners, but I might just drop it down to 1, get it into the green, and then focus on nothing but racing. But with 6 laps remaining, there's still plenty of time in this one for the AI to catch me up. They would need to catch me up by a second a lap though, so it's a big ask. But with the AI strength in the latter stage of the races, if you've seen my videos before, if you've raced in MotoGP 23, the AI get tremendously strong at the end of the races. I'm just going to keep an eye on that left-hand side of the screen. You see Sean Dillon Kelly there in 8th. Underneath there is the fastest lap time of the race, which was set by us on lap number 4. But if that changes, that means that AI will be trending at 1 minute 33s probably to beat that lap time. So that's almost 2 seconds quicker than us. That's why it matters. And the gap going down to 5.6 now. This one's not over. I can guarantee it. I could feel it. And I've had to drop down to power setting 1 now. You can see now it says we're over by 0.5. We need to reduce the fuel, and power setting 2 didn't get it done. So now down to power setting 1 with a lap time of 1:36.8. We won't stand a chance. I have made a bad gamble here, I think. I should have reduced the fuel at around lap 4. Lap 3 maybe. This is... oh no. Not again. I can't handle the drama, the tension, everything that is building up for this Moto2 World Championship. And of course I always have to go with the difficult part of making sure the content's fun. So I always get nervous that if I'm going to make a mistake, I'm not only going to ruin the race for myself and the championship, but then the video's no good. So yeah, I need to add that to the pressure list as well. But we've gone deep into turn 4. That's probably going to be a track limit warning. I got away with it there, but I guess we probably lost time rather than gained anything. But the positive news is we're back in the green. I'm using power setting 2 again, but for how much longer can we use it until it goes into the negative? The problem with this bike we've had all season, I showed you the video in the career mode update video I did a while ago. We have high tyre consumption and we have high fuel consumption. It's just nothing we can do. We didn't fix it in the summer test, or the summer break should I say, and we're not going to fix it anymore. So that's the caveat of being on this forward team. And I'm still shocked that even though we won the Moto3 World Championship, that the only team that offered me a chance in Moto2 was this team here. We had offers in MotoGP for like Gresini, Ducati and such, but not Moto2. I do not understand. But as you can see already, we're down to -5 on the fuel. I can't understand the fuel situation going on right now, but this is the last part of the race that I'd want to be using power setting 1, not this straight here. It's absolutely massive, and you can see that gap in the bottom left corner of your screen. Check the map. Tony Arbolino's on his way here. And if Tony wants to fight for this championship, he has got to beat me here today. Puts himself back up into the top 2 in the championship, and Pedro Acosta temporarily then got past Salach. But he looks to be still being held up. But the only 2 riders that can possibly win this one now are myself and Tony Arbolino. We've got to stay calm here, and we've got to stay focused. I'm trying to use power setting 2 where I can, and then reduce it back down to the first power option. But usually I don't like doing that. I don't like messing around with the fuel during a race. It's a thing I don't need to be focusing on right now. I don't want it to be back of my mind constantly and worrying about it. But Acosta's now into the podium position, so that means he's only going to lose, what, 10 points to me now? 9 points he would lose. So that is damage limitations for Acosta, but his day could improve if Arbolino gets past, but then he has to worry about Arbolino as well, so this championship heating up. And by the time we go into Sepang, I don't think we'll have a new championship lead. I think we should still be able to retain. But things are going to be interesting, and that's deep into turn 12. That's cost me time. Power setting 2 now for hopefully this lap. Should put me in a better situation, but that gap is down to a second. He has taken 5 seconds out of me in about 3 laps. Look at the lap times we've been doing as well, though. The 36s, they're not going to cut it. It's not going to be enough to hold on to this lead. It all depends on now where Arbolino attacks me. If he attacks me within the corners, I've gone deep there into turn 3. That's massive. That's pretty big. I'm trying to brake as late as I dare to try and keep this lead, but now the gap is down to 0.6 of a second. Panic stations, ladies and gentlemen. It's happened again. They've caught me on the final lap due to my lack of fuel. We've got a tough situation on our hands here. Oh, I almost lost the front then. I'm pushing so much. The temperature's changed. As you can see, it's getting a bit dark here. I don't think the rain's going to come out, but I tell you what, I hope it does. But I don't think the race would stop in time. And yeah, Arbolino's right behind me now. Arbolino is charging. On the brakes we go, and there's Tony Arbolino. Arbolino in the front, but not for long. We fight back immediately on the lowest power option. Now, we don't stand a chance here. We are a sitting duck with power setting 1. The AI right now is not using a reduced power option. Oh, massive contact! Oh, apologies to Tony Arbolino. It's not going to like that one bit. But I can't do anything about this. I'm going to have to attack him here into the final corner. But I just can't get close enough. Oh, I'm stuck on him a bit there. But now up on the inside. Bit of a block pass, but there's no way. There's not a prayer now for me. Look at the speed difference. Look at the championship standings. It has changed. We'd only be 12 points ahead of Acosta. And in turn, we'd only be, 18 points ahead of Tony Arbolino. I think that's right. No, 19 points. We'd be 19 points ahead of Tony Arbolino. But we do have a bit of fuel to burn now in the form of power setting 2. Hopefully this is enough now for us to use on this final lap against Tony. Trying to go the long way round, but it's not going to work. Made a bit of a mess actually going into turn 3 there. And Tony Arbolino with the speed coming on the exit. Look at the acceleration. Oh, I can't compete with that. I need power setting 3, but it's not worth it. I can't chuck this away. No way. I can't use power setting 3. If I use power setting 3 now, I'm probably just going to sap all of the fuel out of the tank there, and then it's going to game over. No, and I can't. I have to accept it. No, that's annoying. That really is frustrating, that. But I couldn't give him anything. Final stage of this race. I'm surprised no one actually improved the lap time, but it was more so a case of our lap time has just completely fallen from a cliff in power setting 1. I can't do anything about it. I should never have abused power setting 3 that much. I've only got myself to blame there. But look at him, he's pulled 2 seconds on me already. That's astonishing. If there's a few more laps in this one, then Pedro Acosta be here right now. Well, guys and gals, that's a tough race for us, but Tony Arbolino will get the victory in quite impressive fashion, actually. He's really announced himself back again for this championship fight. He gets across the line. He wins here in Chang International Circuit of Thailand. And for us, we need to improve. We need more points. But there you are then, guys. Arbolino wins. And on that final lap, he did set the best lap with a 1:34 flat. Impressive stuff on the final lap from Arbolino. Myself in second and Pedro Acosta in third means this championship is tightening up for a grand finale. And there it is, still retaining the championship lead, but only 12 points ahead of Pedro and 19 ahead of Tony with 3 rounds to go. Anything can happen. But guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.